And I think it was also the situation really did come a lot closer to the overthrow of the election, I think, than a lot of people realized watching it in real time, and even in a lot of the reporting sense. I mean, that is the number of sort of close calls you document in this book is just extraordinary.
I mean, I think that we got much closer to a far greater crisis than what we faced, and obviously we faced a tremendous crisis, unprecedented in American history. But there were many moments where things could have gone off the rails far more significantly, and we're in some ways our democracy was saved by people that were you would not really think would be the typical profiles in courage, but people who stood up at critical junctures and said no to Donald Trump. There were many people that enabled him and pushed him and played into everything he wanted to do. But there's a story in the book about Michael Flynn right after he got his pardon from Trump, right before Thanksgiving of last year, reaching out to somebody he thought was going to be an ally in the Pentagon, Ezra Cohen, somebody who had worked with him in the National Security Council, had worked under him when he was the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, and he wanted to get him to start. Cohen had a top position at the Pentagon, Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. I mean, the Special Operations Forces fall under his purview at the Pentagon, and he wanted him to activate those forces to seize voting machines in the United States and to do who knows what else. This is while Michael Flynn is talking about things like imposing martial law and rerunning the election. Crazy talk if it's just one retired military officer. But he reached out and tried to get somebody who he thought was going to be an ally at the Pentagon to help him do it. Cohen didn't go along with it and told him the election was over. And you wonder what would have happened if he hadn't. Pence, Karen, I mean, do you know what? One thing I tried to deal with, I deal with this a bit in the book, but I go exhaustively into the pressure campaign on Pence and what he was facing was much more than we realized at the time to act on January 6th, to throw out those Biden electoral votes and give the election to Trump. Pence did not, you and I know, everybody who has studied a minute of constitutional law knows he had no authority to do that. But what if he had? What if he had? What if he said, okay, we're throwing out Pennsylvania, we're throwing out Georgia, we're throwing out Wisconsin? What does Nancy Pelosi do? Grab the gavel and start, hitting back? I mean, what happens? It's chaos. Okay, it goes to the Supreme Court. How exactly does it go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court and what army enforces it? Our system depends ultimately to a degree that those who have power will behave in a way that is honorable. And those who don't, if it happens, it's a one-off, they can be dealt with, they can be punished, they can face repercussions. But when the whole system, when the whole executive branch moves in a way that is lawless, how is that dealt with? How is that prevented?